It is now an honor and privilege to introduce the recipient of this year's VFW Americanism Award, retired Army General Peter W. I'm going to ruin this name, Chiarelli. Excuse me, General. The General served his nation in the uniform for almost 40 years and rose through the ranks to command at every level, from a platoon to leading his 1st Cavalry Division in Iraq, and then returning again as commander of the multinational force Iraq. From August 2008 until his military retirement in January 2012, he would serve as the Vice Chief of Staff of the United States Army, where he challenged backlogs and inefficiencies. He drove the medical community to improve the message used to treat soldiers and veterans, especially those with brain injuries. He championed a better environment for female soldiers and advocated that leaders build better partnerships with other organizations. He also worked tirelessly to reduce the Army's suicide rate and to eliminate the stigma attached with seeking mental health. As a civilian, the General returned to his hometown of Seattle to become Chief Executive Officer of One Mind for Research, a nonprofit organization dedicated to the research, funding, and public awareness of mental illnesses and brain injuries. Leading troops into battle is an honor and responsibility very few can claim, but pushing the status quo to properly care for them when they return home is even more unique and courageous. Comrades and sisters, I present to you the recipient of this year's VFW National Americanism Award, General Chiarelli.
Did I get that close a second time? No, really.
Americanism Award Gold Medal and Citation awarded to General Peter Chiarelli, U.S. Army, retired, and special recognition and sincere appreciation of nearly 40 years of faithful and dedicated service to the United States of America, its Army, and most especially to the soldiers under his command during peacetime and war. As the Army Vice Chief of Staff, he worked tirelessly to reduce the Army's suicide rate, to eliminate the stigma attached to seeking mental help, and to improve traumatic brain injury prevention, identification, and treatment. He now leads a nonprofit civilian organization dedicated to the research, funding, and public awareness of mental health, mental illness, and brain injury for the benefit of all Americans. This commitment to continually serving his nation is true to the ideas, traditions, and values of the veterans of foreign wars of the United States, in witness whereof we have hereunto set our hands and the official seal of the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States this 22nd day of July, 2013, approved by the National Council of Administration, signed by John E. Hamilton, Commander-in-Chief, Alan F. Gunner Kent, Adjutant General.
Well, I am honored. I only spent 24 months in Iraq, and quite frankly, if someone had asked me what traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress was at that time, I would not have been able to tell you. I knew what my football coach had told me, that when I got bonked on the head, I was supposed to shake it off and get back in the game. And I knew enough that when I had a platoon that lost soldiers to send and use aviation assets to send combat stress teams to help them through that process. But it wasn't until I became Vice Chief of Staff and on the 4th day that I was at work, when Army Medical Command came in to brief me, and they had a single chart that laid out those soldiers with a single disqualifying injury of 30% or greater. And I was sure that those who had been wounded by bullet or shrapnel or lost an arm and a leg would be at the far left of that chart, but that wasn't the case. In 2008, 2% of our soldiers had a spinal cord injury, 4% had been seriously burned, 10% had lost a single arm or a leg or multiple limbs, but at that time, 36% had traumatic brain injury or post-traumatic stress. When I left as vice in 2012, that number had grown to 67%. 67%. and the number who had lost arms and legs held steady at 10%. I challenged my doctors for the next 4 years and asked them to teach me everything they could. I'm a tanker. I spent 40 years as an armor officer. But I know today that we just don't know enough about the brain. I know today that these have been problems that we have had when we fought every single war. I know today that 1 in every 3 soldiers that was evacuated in World War II back to the States suffered from something that was called battle fatigue at the time. I know today that Audie Murphy suffered from battle fatigue and spent the later part of his life going around to veterans organizations talking to them about getting in and getting help for that. I know today that it's not how much money we spend to get at these diseases, it's how we do it. And what we need to do is we need to change the culture. We need to change the culture of medical research to one of sharing data, intellectual property rules that don't stop us from sharing data, so we can unlock the mysteries of the brain. There's not a single drug that is prescribed today for someone with post-traumatic stress that was brought to market to treat post-traumatic stress. Not a single one. They're all 30 to 40-year-old antidepressants that are off-label written by doctors. They work on some, on others they have no effect, and on others, after studying Army suicide rates, I know they have horrible effects. We have got to demand that we unlock the secrets of the brain through research, big science, and the sharing of data. That's what my organization is all about, because we know today that traumatic brain injury shares certain commonalities with diseases like Parkinson's, ALS, dementia, Alzheimer's. Some people even think MS. So I ask you to do everything you can to ensure that this generation of warriors gets the treatment they need, the diagnostics and the treatments that can help them with the cognitive and other issues they have for those suffering from traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress. Because not only does it affect them, but it affects their families. You honor me with this award. I thank you very much. God bless you all.